Hello, friends, and welcome back to the shop. Today is Sunday, May 11th, and it is a beautiful day here in southeastern Pennsylvania. Really looking forward to getting outside after this and getting some more gardening done. I'll tell you all about that. But first, and most importantly, I want to wish all the mothers out there, all two or so of you that watch me, happy Mother's Day to you. Hope you have a fantastic day. And to all you dads who are taking the wife out to brunch today, I am just so sorry. I really am. But yes, so happy Mother's Day. Uh, we're not going anywhere because the dogs don't treat my wife. It's terrible. I tried to get them to do something and they just anyway. More on dogs later. So yeah, it's a great day and I have let me just tamp this a bit so I can relight. I have Haunted Bookshop in a J Mouton and wonderful pipe, wonderful blend, and so I got gardening update. I had a nightmarish experience yesterday. It wasn't bad. It wasn't at all bad. Uh, but it was comical. Uh, so I've been doing a lot more work outside. My dogs have been outside a lot more, and this is just a terrible season for ticks here in Pennsylvania. Not sure why. We were talking about this on Friday during the live stream, but it was a pretty cold winter, and you'd think there would be fewer, but it's apparently just an explosion. Well, anyway, after Friday, after the live stream, was upstairs, watched TV for a bit, and then was getting ready to go to bed. And I went to leave the dogs out, and I just felt something on my leg, and I went and there was a darn tick on me, big one, so no, uh, not a deer tick for sure, but a big sucker. So got him off and dispatched him. I don't like killing things, but ticks, I make an exception for them. And it probably came in on one of the dogs, most likely, because I'm usually pretty careful when I'm working outside. I just from fishing and all that, I kind of have this innate awareness where I'm always looking and checking and stuff. So I don't think I brought it in on myself. I think and it wasn't fully hooked on yet. So I think it was probably from one of the dogs. Anyway, I realized that I had not given them their Bravecto. Now, this is an oral medication that protects them from fleas and ticks, and they're supposed to get it every 12 weeks, I think, and I hadn't given it to them. Now, giving Bravecto to the dogs is actually a really interesting experience. It looks like a little chewy treat. They're little, uh, actually little roundish sort of treat-looking things. They smell like beef bouillon, and you give them to the dog, and the dog eats it, and then they're protected for 12 weeks, in theory. I've got two dogs, Isabel and Thatcher. They're sisters. Coonhound, golden retriever mixes. So you get all the loving goofiness of a golden retriever combined with the energy of a coonhound. Don't ever get that mix. I love them. I love them dearly, and they're wonderful dogs. And Thatcher is the smart, well-behaved one. I could tell Thatcher would do anything. They could be out in the yard and somebody walks by with another dog, and they don't like that because it's their yard. What are you doing near my yard? So they'll start barking and stuff. I'll go, hey, home. And Thatcher will run to the door. Isabel doesn't even hear me, doesn't even know I exist. Just goes into that zone of there's nobody in the world but me and this thing I'm barking at. So Isabel's I don't want to say she's disobedient. She's a good dog, but she just doesn't listen in moments like that. She's also a little bit lazy. Uh, Whereas Thatcher, as soon as you say, "Hey, let's," Thatcher's by your side. Isabel's like getting up, like, ah, geez, do I have to? They're about 13 years old now, so they're starting to show their age. But Isabel will eat anything. She lives for food. And here's a secret for you folks that don't own dogs. Dogs live for food. Uh, all dogs do. Thatcher also lives for food and will do anything to get food. And I'm talking about not just their dog food, not just their treats, but of course people food is like a super special treat for them. So when I take out these Bravectos, Isabel starts going nuts, and Thatcher gets very cautious. There's two things Thatcher will not eat. She'll eat anything else, but there's two things that she just absolutely will not eat, and it's strange. She will not eat cheese. I've never seen a dog that didn't eat cheese. You give Thatcher a piece of cheese, she takes it in her mouth, she drops it on the floor, and she goes in the next room and lies down, staring at the cheese from the other room. Isabel comes over, eats the cheese, and then Thatcher looks at me like, how come she got two pieces and I got none? Weird dog, doesn't eat cheese. The other thing that she will not, under any circumstances, take is the Bravecto. Isabel would eat a bag of these things. She can't get enough of them. Thatcher wants nothing to do with it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to trick her this time. I know this is going to be a problem. I had some leftover shredded chicken. They love chicken. I cut the Bravecto up and it crumbles quite easily. So I was able to get it into like a very, I don't want to say a fine powder, but a granular sort of, I put a pretty good amount of shredded chicken in a bowl and mixed it. And I don't know. I thought this was no chance of failure whatsoever. So I go and I take the bowls over and I put them, and Isabel just is devouring the chicken, and Thatcher sniffs it a couple times, goes in the next room and lays down and stares at it. I can't believe this. I picked the bowls up because Isabel, I don't want her to get two doses. I tried everything. I tried corn chips, pretending I was eating it like it was a salsa, and then taking some on the chip to give it to her. Didn't want it. Ultimately, it got more and more disgusting because I was putting more things in it. Ultimately, I mixed in a tablespoonful of peanut butter. So it was about a quarter cup of shredded chicken. So I mixed in a tablespoon of peanut butter and made this bizarre peanut butter chicken mixture. And she ate about, I don't know, 3/4 of that. Isabel got the rest. So it's fine. I think that she's protected with that because the dose is for dogs 40 to 80 pounds, and they're both, well, Izzy's a little bit bigger. She's almost 80 pounds. Thatcher's closer to 60, so she's probably okay. But I got to talk to the vet about some other medication for this because there's just no way I can continue to. It was like a 4-hour ordeal. She's a good dog in every other regard. She's also really bad about pills in general, although I can usually get her to take a pill. But this is a big thing, and it's hard to do. Anyway, yeah. So yes, there's ticks, and they're bad this year. So I gotta be careful. Gotta pay attention to that. Especially, I'm gonna be doing some fishing, and I like to fish small streams, which is a lot of brush and stuff. So I'm really gonna have to keep an eye on that this year. And I want to keep the dogs protected, obviously. So check back with me in 12 weeks, and I'll let you know what Thatcher's doing then. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and this is going to be a little bit rambly, but I got so I have one of these electric toothbrushes. I think it's an Oral-B. I don't remember. And you buy the little toothbrushes that fit onto the little hand unit, and it's great. And you go to the store and you buy them, and you can go to Costco and buy them in a large pack or whatever. But I found that you can get them on Amazon a little bit cheaper. It's a couple dollars, not a big deal, but it's convenient, So I buy, I don't know, there's 8 in a pack, maybe 10 in a pack. I have no idea how many there are. And I have a reminder on my calendar that says, oh, you got to change your toothbrush this week. And I throw the old one away, put the new one on. And when I take the last one, I go to Amazon and I order the next set. And it just works. It's easy. I know I should probably support, but if I'm going to go to Costco, I don't need to support Costco. So anyway, I get an email from Amazon yesterday. 2 emails. And long story short, We've discovered that the Oral-B toothbrushes you have been buying are not authentic, or not original products, or may not be manufactured by the company that they claim to be manufactured by. I forget how it was worded. And we've provided you a full refund. They actually provided me 2 refunds. Um, Please discard them, or don't return them. Destroy them or discard them in a manner that no one else will be able to use them. And I don't know. I mean, I've been using them for a long time now, and I'm thinking, well, gee, there's nothing wrong with them. Should I throw them away? But then I got to think about it. I was like, why? How could this happen? I'm going to Amazon. I'm buying this from Amazon. It says Oral-B. What? How does this happen? Is anything real? Is it's just getting kind of crazy that you can buy something, the packaging looks normal, it's got the labels on it, everything about it is identical to what I would go and buy at Walmart, for example, or Costco, or someplace like that. So how do I know the stuff in Walmart and Costco is real? This is really starting to bother me. Yeah. Anyway, that's my Is Anything Real Anymore? I went out of order. I wanted to talk about the garden next, but just pretend that's at the end. Garden update. So we did get some plants in the ground. I'm very happy. Everything's looking great. We spent a lot of time out there yesterday. And I did take some pictures because some folks wanted updates, and maybe it's best that I put this towards the end. This way, if you were more interested in dogs and toothbrushes, you could stop watching now and avoid the garden stuff. I got some pictures, so let's see if this works. There we go. Hey, there's the pitchfork from last week. I did get it reassembled. Thank you all who provided suggestions and comments on reseating that fork into the handle. What I wound up doing was I drilled a hole that was the right diameter for the width of the tang, and then I actually got not a quarter inch, an 1/8 inch chisel. No, it was a quarter-inch chisel. I'm sorry, it was a quarter-inch chisel. And I just went in and widened it out into a rectangular shape that was smaller than what I needed. And then I just drove it home. And it's solid. It's really, really solid. So I think that'll be great and will serve me well. You can see I cleaned up the handle and oiled it, and that light patch in the middle is where there was a label that I didn't want to sand to the point where I got rid of the lines there, because that's a lot of sanding. It doesn't matter. It's a garden implement. It will work for many years to come. Okay, so gardens. Let's take a, oh, by the way, ignore the dirty floor there. My shop's a mess. All right, so first thing in the garden, this is right outside the back door. We planted a little herb garden. Nothing too fancy. We've got some parsley, some thyme, and chives. We normally do parsley and chives because those are things that I'll use when I'm cooking. We got a lot of dried oregano and thyme and basil and all that kind of stuff, so I don't really use that as often. But my wife wanted to try some thyme this year, so we added that in. And yeah, we know that that's going to do just fine because herbs grow like weeds. And haven't put any straw in that yet. I just put some compost down in that soil and got it mixed up last night, and then added the plants. So we'll have to get some straw down to just keep the weeds to a minimum, as we have done in the garden bed. So this is the first garden bed that I built. You can't really see the base of it that well, but it's made of rails, and it's a 4x8 plot. Those wooden rectangles that you see at the base of the bed, those are going to be my rabbit protection. So I built those yesterday. Just very simple lap joints, and I'm going to cover those in 1-inch chicken wire mesh. And then they're going to get bolted together, and they're going to sit on top of the actual rails that go around that bed. So that'll give about a 2-foot high barrier for rabbits. I think that'll work. We shall see. And the reason I want it on this bed is this one is a little bit more shady than the others. It's right against the house, as you can see. and it does tend to get less sun, so we're growing greens in this one. I've got it's divided into threes, and in the center there is mixed greens and some kale, and those came from the CSA yesterday. They were just planted yesterday. On either side of that, the other two-thirds, the left third and the right third, are spinach and arugula respectively, and they were planted from seed. And I've got some close-ups here. That's the spinach popping up and slowly coming up. And there we got some arugula. With both of these, the seed spacing isn't great because the seeds are very small, so let them grow to a couple inches and then thin them out to about 6 inches between each plant. And if you look closely, you can see it, putting that cluster of arugula at the center, right around, oh, I don't know, 2 o'clock, there is a weed. And that weed is actually, I believe, wheat. One of the problems with the straw is that it's 99% seed free, which means that it's 1% seed, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still going to produce some seeding, and you're going to get some wheat, which is fine because it's pretty easy to tell when you're growing wheat compared to arugula, and that's going to be pretty easy to pull out. And the nice thing is you pull it out, you drop it down, you're creating more straw. So it's all good. I think so far it's been much better than not having any kind of mulch down. It's keeping the soil moist, and it's also preventing other weeds from growing. So I'm happy with it so far. But we'll see how the straw works out. This is the second bed that I built. It's another 4x8 bed off in another part of the yard. This gets a lot more sun. Those wrought iron looking railings are actually, well, first off, they're not wrought iron, but they're there for the dogs because my dogs love to dig in anything. I mean, they just love to dig, and we got relatively rocky soil. So if they get a chance to dig in a nice soft garden, they're in there. And oh, they can move a lot of dirt very quickly. So anyway, that's what those are for. And they've learned that that means no, and so you'll see later that I have some of them spaced pretty far apart, and it's fine as long as there's something there. They'll stay out. In this garden, we've got some tomatoes. So these are a couple of cherry tomatoes, and my wife wanted these square tomato cages this year, so I bought 4 of those. I've never used the square ones before. I always just staked the tomatoes. She started with the sort of cone-shaped tomato cages, which seem okay, but she really wanted to try these square ones, so we'll see how that goes. My guess is I'm going to put a stake into this anyway, because I don't know how that's going to support the plant as it starts to really get bigger. So those are both cherry tomatoes, 2 different varieties actually. And at the other end, we've got 2 Roma plum tomatoes. We're not growing slicing tomatoes because I get a lot of those from the CSA. So these are things that we use in salads and to make some sauce potentially. But there's just more. My wife doesn't like raw tomatoes, so I got more than I can deal with from the CSA. And they're good heirloom tomatoes, really nice. In addition, we have 2 shishito pepper plants, and I'm planning to also get some banana peppers to put into this plot as well. Shishito peppers, if you've never had shishito peppers, go have them. They are amazing. If you like peppers, they're so good. You just fry them in a little bit of oil and garlic, and they're just one of the best things you've ever eaten. And interestingly, like 1 out of every 10 is hot. They're mild, but 1 out of every 10 is spicy. And I went for a couple of years not believing that that was true because I never got a spicy one. And then one day last season, I got one, and it was surprisingly spicy. And then the third plot we have is not a raised bed. It's just a bed that we've got along one of the fences. And here we're growing a couple of things. That at the far left, there is a very sad looking blueberry shrub that is not really a shrub anymore. I don't know if that's going to come back. I planted that last year, and it doesn't look good. I have to do some pruning. But the other things in this plot are we've got some zucchini, 2 zucchini, and they get quite large, so I don't want to put more than 2 in. And we got a couple of cucumbers, which hopefully will trellis up that fence, and be good. So we shall see how it goes this year. I did a lot of work on amending the soil and such, and trying to get things going, because last year was really not very good for the vegetable garden. Might have been the weather, but it also just didn't seem like the plants were thriving. So I did some soil amendments, some nitrogen sources as well as potassium sources. Um, no chemical fertilizers, things like blood meal and murate of potash, I believe it was called, which is potassium. It's not potassium chloride. It might be potassium sulfate. No, it's not sulfate. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's murate of potash, and also some rhizome mycorrhizal spores, some sort of thing to build the fungal network in the soil. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. It was an interesting thing to do. Plus compost and straw. So hopefully, as the weeks go on, I'll be able to give you positive updates about the vegetable garden. And I hope you enjoyed seeing that. So today I'm gonna put the chicken wire on those frames and get those bolted together. Got to make a trip to Home Depot to buy some bolts because I got the wrong size. I got to check here and see if we got anything that would work, but I don't think I have enough of anything. And what else? Get that together. Kill some poison ivy that's growing in the yard, and try not to get ticks. So with that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed that little tour through the garden. Again, I'll give you occasional updates as the season goes on. Um, Watch out for fake toothbrushes, I guess. I don't know. Just watch out for fake stuff. Apparently, we live in a world of fake stuff, and that's not good. And have a great Sunday. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms. So with that, is there a red light? I'm going to wish you all a pleasant Sunday, happy Mother's Day, great week ahead. And until we speak again, I will look forward to talking to you all again very soon. Bye now.